I've wasted years with LinkedIn by not knowing how to properly set up Sales Navigator. I've been going through doing everything on the hard mode when it could be so much easier by going through and setting this up correctly. So in this video, I'm going to show you everything so you don't waste time like I have. Now, to give you a high level overview, this is the LinkedIn funnel that I'm running. Now, what we're focusing on is Sales Navigator, more specifically, how we can go through and set this up correctly by making sure that we have our accounts lists, personas, and then also leads and then lead lists. Because this is where we're then able to go through and engage with our ideal client profile. This is going to be the people that we would love to work with and align with the services that we create. Now, the way in which I've been doing this before, which was the hard mode that I mentioned at the beginning, was that I would just simply use LinkedIn and I would go through and look at my recommended feed, scroll through and just engage with whatever posts aligned, or try to find people who do align with the clients that I want to serve, add them to a Google Sheet, and then constantly just keep on going through and trying to stay up to date, going through each line on a daily basis, making sure that I have engaged with their latest post in order to go through and follow this. You don't need to do that. It becomes a lot easier and this will save you a lot more time. You also don't need to have any other subscriptions other than premium to actually have a Sales Navigator. Heading over to Sales Navigator, this is my homepage. This is going to show things that you may not have, but I'm going to show you how to set this up. That's just because I don't want to take down everything that I currently have just for this video so that I have to re-add everything again. So what we want to first be able to go through and do is head over to accounts. Now, what we're going to be doing is filling this list. Now you can see that I already have a lot already in here because this is set up for me to target agencies. So you can see as I'm scrolling through, there is a lot of different agencies, marketing agencies, lead gen agencies, SEO agencies, you name it, there's an agency for it. There are tens of thousands in here. So the way in which we do this is we go over to account filters. You may be thinking, wait 1 minute, I want to be able to go through and get the leads. Yes, we'll get to that. We first want to start with accounts. The reason for this is because, and I'll show you, when we go over to leads and I go over to my lead filters, before I used to type in agency because that's the keyword that I would be trying to go for. In fact, I would go and put this as like a Boolean search. So we could go through agency or insert, or agency and SEO agency and lead gen agency, and then just keep that going. But the issue with that, and then of course I would go through with the filters over on here, but the issue is that not everyone in here will be an agency. And I've been running this with cold email campaigns as well, which is its own separate thing, but about 30% roundabout there would reply to those emails saying, I don't run an agency, which of course is a problem. So we've changed it to then go through and focus on our accounts. We go over to accounts over onto here, and then we would go through and search for what it is that we want to search for. I do currently have this as save searches, so you can see what I have over on this one. But if I was to go through and just view marketing agencies, you can see exactly what it is that I set up. Now, my recommendation for you is to have a detailed document of exactly who your ICP is. So this tells you exactly who it is that you are serving. You can then take that over to Claude, go and ask Claude, I'm trying to set up Sales Navigator. In fact, you could even take the transcript of this video by going to YouTube to transcript and then just copying the URL from this video, paste it in there, get the transcript. And then you will be able to go through and get Claude to give you a detailed breakdown of what filters you should be able to go through and set up. Now, it's quite tedious to go through and do this at first because you then need to copy and paste. So you can see over on here, I have marketing agency or digital agency or creative agency or advertising agency, and it just keeps on going through. There's a lot of different agencies that come under the umbrella of marketing agency. And then from there, what you can see over on the side is if I was to go through and expand this, I've put this to the company headcount of 1 to 10. That's because I work with founder-led agencies. I've defined the location to be United States, United Kingdom, or Canada, and I've set the industry to be advertising services and also marketing services. I've then gone through, we've managed to go through and get 40,000 results, but I've then saved this as a search, which is of course what we just clicked on. The only difference is then I would also go through and take this exact same thing, and then I would also look for recent opportunities hiring on LinkedIn, and then I would also select that to then go through and create another search. So you can then see we've got marketing agencies and we've got hot hiring signals marketing agencies. So it ends up having the exact same term over in here, the exact same thing that we've searched for. It's also the exact same thing over company attributes and then also what we have for our headquarters and then industry, but I've also put job opportunities as in hiring on LinkedIn. So we have 164. That then gives us a list of loads of different accounts. What you should then go through and do is save the ones that you want to actually go through and add to a list. So go through, you can click on all of these. You can see that I do only a couple. In fact, it ends up being about 200 every single week. So then of course I can go through those. That's because I have a maximum of 200 connection requests. So that's what I'm trying to go for. But you can then go through, click select all, save to a list, and then you can add them to a list. Now, yet again, I break down my lists on what is going to align with me. So I go through, I have marketing agencies in here, but I have fractional CMO firms, lead gen and sales agencies, the hot hiring list. So I compile all my hot hiring into one. We have B2B productized services and then operation consultancies. So all of those end up going into these lists. And you can see that I already have a couple hundred going into each one, or at least a max that I can go through and do based on what it is that we've gone through and searched for. So you can see that I now have all of that together. To go through and actually create those lists, you can actually go over to accounts, see accounts lists, and then you can just go through and create an account list over in here. So I recommend, yet again, having that detailed doc of your ICP, taking it over to Claude, getting Claude to break down who exactly you should target. You should then have multiple lists and then save those searches so that you don't have to keep on going through and doing it. That will save you time in the long run. And then connect those saved searches to a list. So you have one-to-one pretty much going through. At this point, just to go through and show you, we now have our accounts all set up. So those will be our saved searches. That's just what we're going to be going through. That's what I recommend with Claude. Then you've got your account lists. The next things that we need to go through and do is set up personas. Personas is very easy. I'm going to go back over to my home. You can see personas over on here. I've only got one. So mine is looking for agency founders. It's not based on keywords, but if we just go through and take a look, I'm looking for function, marketing, sales, business development, operations. I've then gone through and just got the current job title. I could have gone through and put seniority level. This ultimately depends on your business and who your target audience is. If you're going for something where maybe you want a bit more of an enterprise level and you don't care who it is that you can contact, that you want to contact the CEO, the COO, the CFO, the CMO, then of course you can just go through and set that in there. But I'm looking for founder-led agencies. So I've gone current job title, founder, chief executive officer, owner, managing director, and we've been able to go through and push those. Yet again, geography, United States, United Kingdom, Canada. That's because the account that we've got set up, even though we're looking in those locations, it may be that the founder is in a different location. So I like to go through and set that also within our persona. Very simple. That's all you need to go through and set over on here, because we're going to use this to break down the accounts that we've just searched for to then go through and find those founders. So going back to what we have now, personas, very, very easy to set. So that means the only thing that we need to do is now get those leads from those accounts. So this is where we can go over to our lead filters and we can then scroll down instead of having to go through and bring all of that across like we had before. We can actually go through, select our account list, which is what we just put through. So remember, save searches, then we went through and add those accounts to those account lists. We can now go through and look at exactly what it is we've put together. To just go through and show you, I've got a save search for this one as well. So if I go over to here, I could go over to leads. You can see that I have save searches for each and every single one. So if we continue the theme, focus on marketing agencies, I can go through, click view over on here, and we can expand this. That does mean that I don't need to put as much in here compared to what I've previously done before. Again, I used to go through and use this search to go through and find everything. But now you can see that most of this is already set up. That's why it's all put in gray and I can't actually click any of this off. So let me just break this down. I've gone through, I've selected the account list to be marketing agencies. So that's all the accounts added in there. I've then selected the persona. That's the persona that we just created, in which both of these, when connected, will automatically fill what has been set over on here, or at least persona will in this case. So it'll go through and bring what I've set previously as the persona here, but it's now filtering it based on the account list that's been put together. Now, I've gone through and I've added 2 extra settings that I want to go through and look for. Firstly, I've made connection to be second degree connections. So this is people that I'm not connected with, but we have mutual connections. So that just increases the chances that they are going to accept when I go through and send them a connection request. And then I also want to make sure that we're focusing on people who are active. So I've gone through and have posted on LinkedIn, which is posted on LinkedIn in the last 30 days. So then I can engage with their content. From there, you can then go through, let's go through and click show the 25, just because I have not actually interacted with these. But I can then go through and click save anyone that isn't added to the list. In fact, most of these are all added to the list. I thought these weren't going to be people I haven't interacted with, but it says that they're all part of the list. Okay, we got 2 down here. But ultimately, we can then go through, select the ones that are not currently part of a list, and we're going to add them to a lead list. So we can then do save, and you can see what I end up going through and doing. But we can then go through and find marketing agencies. So these are founders of marketing agencies. Your lead list is separate from your account list. I know there's quite a few moving things going on, but we have our accounts list put together, which we're filtering here. Now we're just putting together a separate list, which is going to be the founders that are of those accounts. So you can see that I've got marketing agencies in which I can then go through, click, and it's added these people to that list. Now I can then go through and take a look at that list and engage with those people specifically. But we've now set this up correctly that we can actually go to our home, and you can see that this is giving me relevance, but I can actually go over to lead list and I can go through and find that specific one. So we got our marketing agencies over on here. So I can click this. This is now going to give me a list of all of those marketing agencies, so the accounts and the founders of those agencies that I can then go through and contact. So anytime that they post, I'm able to go through and see in here. We do actually have this set to sorted by our latest, so we can then just go through and view each one. So I can go through and click on Anna over on here. Oh, did not mean to. I meant to actually go through and click on the view just to see her post. But I can then go through, click view, see what she says, and then go through and comment. That means that our engagement now is specifically on those who align with our target audience, rather than having to go to LinkedIn and just scroll through, or having to know the people when we don't know them. I've seen a lot of founders that I've worked with who would just go to like Claude or Perplexity or ChatGPT and ask the AI to give recommendations on who they should go through and contact, who would align with their ICP, so that they can actually engage with them on LinkedIn. But now we can have pretty much, I was going to say an endless supply, but like it's not, there's going to be a number, but that number for most people is going to be very, very high. For me, marketing agencies, there's about 40,000. There's no way that I can go through 40,000 anytime soon. We can send a maximum of 200 connection requests per week. So that now means we have our leads, we have our lead lists. For the rest of the process, which is beyond this video, this is just about setting up Sales Navigator. But I recommend that you engage with their content by going through and doing this. So on a daily basis, just go through, see what's there, engage, actually go through and give something meaningful, not just, hey, great post. You check to see whether or not they engage back through your notifications in LinkedIn. If they don't, then you just keep on engaging with their content. Like, it's that simple. You're going to stay top of mind. The second that they engage back, that's when you go through, send a connection request. And that also opens the door and makes DMs way easier. You don't need to just go through and immediately pitch slap them. You talk about the things that you've been engaging with. Hey, I've been seeing your content a lot. It's been recommended in my feed. I've been following along, really enjoying it. Wondering how you're doing XYZ right now. Like, just have it as a conversation rather than having to go through and pitch. And by the way, I've sort of skipped. When we're sending connection requests, I wait until they engage back and I just send them a blank connection request. I don't add a note. I've gone through everything trying to add notes to see who will accept and who doesn't. Every single time, just a blank connection request does much better. But again, we're waiting for them to accept. If they don't accept, you just engage with them in the meantime until they do accept. And of course, you send a DM. But that is how we go through and run this. It's part of the process, a very, very important part, but this will make your life way easier. Now I just wake up, do a bit of engagement. It depends what's happening for that day, but that allows me to have touch points with people who I could potentially sell to in the future. It's a bit longer than just sending a connection request and then immediately pitch slapping them, but trust me, it is far, far better. But that's how you set up Sales Navigator. The next problem that you're going to face is being able to keep track of each and every single person that you need to follow up with, in which I highly recommend watching this video right here. This video will give you the full breakdown so that you never lose a lead. I hope you enjoy.